When Mercedes-Benz Stadium was still on the drawing board, officials promised the new structure would be a catalyst for revitalization. I recently spoke with Atlanta Business Chronicle real estate reporters Doug Sams and Amy Wenk about the changing landscape around the $1.5 billion stadium and whether development is keeping pace with those promises years ago. When officials had proposed this new stadium, which is now Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the promise was made that it wouldn't just be a stadium, but that it would support development of the neighborhoods and commercial development around this new structure. And I want to know, are we seeing the impact of that now that we're ready to host a Super Bowl? How have things changed?
Well, I think it's too early to tell about a bigger development around the area, but the immediate impact, in my opinion, has really been on tourism. I mean, if you think about the last time Atlanta hosted the Super Bowl in 2000, there was hardly anything around Centennial Olympic Park.
Oh, wow, that's true.
Now we have the aquarium, the Center for Civil and Human Rights, the College Football Hall of Fame, the World of Coke, the Skyview Ferris wheel, and really the stadium has become, this anchor for the tourism hub downtown. If you think about the large events the stadium has brought, the college football championship last year, the Super Bowl now, the Final Four, potentially a World Cup. I mean, you're talking about huge events that are bringing people who may have never visited Atlanta. So we are seeing more tourism-related projects.
I know that the chambers, both the Georgia Chamber and the Metro Atlanta Chamber, have said that this is a selling point for Atlanta because everything is concentrated right around the stadium. People can walk, they can get around easily right downtown. And so that's been a real selling point for hosting the Super Bowl.
You have to think about all the improvements planned at the Georgia World Congress Center, which of course is right by the stadium. They've got plans for a 1,000-room convention hotel there. They're also building an expansion of the convention center that will allow for some of the biggest events in the country to be held there. They're remaking International Boulevard as a new entrance. If
you think about Mercedes-Benz Stadium as sort of a hub or the central point, there's been some demand west of the stadium that's been a pretty big deal, and I'm thinking about the Tilford Yard.
So Tilford Yard is 300 acres or around there. It's unofficially on the market. That's going to be an interesting one to watch because, again, that's West Midtown really getting into some low-density residential areas around the buffer of that. If you go east, though, if you go back the other way, think about all the stuff that's lining up and down North Side and Howell Mill. So that's an area that is close to the stadium, but the bigger driver there might be someone like Georgia Tech.
Interesting.
Yeah. Georgia Tech's expanding westward. Tech's helping drive investment and development on the west side as much as anything, in my opinion. And then you have a little mini office market developing right there, also in that general area. With us hosting the Super Bowl, there have been some promises about,
lifting up those neighborhoods that are real close to the stadium, Vine City, English Avenue. And the West Side Future Fund has tried to help keep home prices reasonable for people who are living there.
We think the story over there right now is preserving what little affordable housing the city has in its stock. That's what's going on right now. That's what West Side Future Fund did recently in buying that property on the west side. Spent about $6 million to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a little bit of a balance going on there. It's how do you preserve and keep people who've lived there a long time in their homes, but also give them, more opportunities, workforce training. There's a new youth center, which has been really helpful to that area in reducing crime. So it's both of those things. How do you control development? How do you have smart development while also uplifting these communities and giving them more resources?
We're seeing demand for city, urban offices and things like that. YMCA has their new hub over on Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. That's close in. Chick-fil-A has been opening new restaurants sort of close in. So maybe businesses are also looking to invest in these communities.
And some of the institutions, right? Morehouse has a big project. Friendship Baptist has a big mixed-use project it wants to do near the stadium. So there's a lot of forces at work over there.
And long term, it doesn't look like it's slowing down either. It looks like this is a trend that's here to stay for quite a while.